Welcome to Telegeography Explains the Internet, a show that explores the business behind all the ways humans stay connected around the world. I'm your host, Greg Bryan, and my guest today is Seva Vayner, who's Product Director for Cloud and Edge and AI at Gcore. Seva and I tackle what is perhaps the dominant topic in telecom today, the impact of AI on the network. We first distinguish between AI for networking and networking for AI, and explore how AI training models are driving a dramatic increase in power consumption within data centers, with rack power capacity rapidly growing over the past few years. Seva explains how AI inferencing is creating a need for distributed network infrastructure, transforming the roles of CDNs from distributing content to enabling this real-time interaction that AI models require. We discuss how Gcore is helping telcos and enterprises adopt AI solutions and exactly what that entails from a process standpoint. We close out on the evolving definition of the edge as power becomes a bigger constraint in many cases than connectivity in this facilitating of AI workloads, and then what Seva sees for the near future of AI and networks. So as always, please be sure to rate the show, subscribe, and tell a friend to listen. If you have any feedback or suggestions about the show, you can always find me on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy. Welcome to the show, Seva.
Yeah. Hi there. Yeah. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us. So, Seva, before we jump into the topic for the day, I thought maybe you could just give us a brief background on yourself and how you came to be product manager at Gcore.
With pleasure. I'm product director for Cloud and AI in Gcore since 2018, when I joined to Gcore to build a cloud platform from scratch and be part of the global international network backbone. So currently we provide the infrastructure and platform services and AI services to the global customers, and we manage more than 22,000 GPUs. Before I worked for EMC, right now it's Dell EMC or Dell, on the different roles, also including as the solution architect for EMEA customers and also be part of the R&D team in the US. And joined it after that to Mirantis. It's a US-based company who provides their OpenStack distribution for big enterprise customers who are looking to build their private clouds. And right now, Mirantis is one of our also partners in the AI space.
That's helpful, right? Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. All right, so Seva, our topic for the day, actually, really, as an analyst, my topic for really the last year, if not more, has been all about AI and its impact on the telecom world. And I like to split that into sort of two distinct areas, right? One is AI for networking, and the other one is networking for AI. How would you at Gcore sort of see this distinction of AI that's facilitating networking versus networking that is facilitating AI, if you will?
Great question. So AI itself, so stay with us for the long time, tens of the years, and but we started to work with the AI in beginning of 2022 or end of the 2021. We started with the company which called Gcore, and they build their own chips to provide the infrastructure for training, especially for the NLP and time series models. And for sure that, so for the distributed training, so very important to have the proper interconnection, or which call east-west connection to share the memory between the accelerators and start to train. So as I remember that, so 200 gig and 400 gig at that time, so it looks crazy. But OpenAI came and the market changed significantly. So everybody's shifting to the NVIDIA approach for sure. And everybody trying to find the place where you can find any kind of the H100s at that time to start training the large language models. And after that, so it's image generation, but everything it's related how you build your network infrastructure inside the data center. Yeah. So, and right now you can see that. So we build gigawatts of the data centers around the globe. And if we will try to ask, oh, I would like to have a rack for 5 kilowatts. So unfortunately, we have 3.5. So in 2022, we started to discuss roughly 50 kilowatt per rack. Today it's 130 kilowatt per rack. Tomorrow it will be
Wow. Yeah.
600 kilowatt per rack,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, crazy, crazy. On the
Yeah.
network side, so it's also interesting what's happening at this moment. So again, on the centralized data centers, so everybody focusing on the east-west interconnection, right?
Right.
So we started with the 200 gig per port InfiniBand interconnection, and the latency is so crucial, especially GPU to GPU interconnection.
Hmm.
And right now, so on the InfiniBand side, and we hope that so it will be shifting to the Ethernet part. But right now, so it's one port can serve 800 gigabit per second, and this is
Right.
like a huge number.
Hmm.
And from the other hand, yeah, so 2 or 3 years ago, a lot of AI startups, especially who training the foundational models, focusing on the training side, but our ultimate goal to providing the inference, right? And one of the
Right.
practical example which I would like to mention that so I think that's a you potentially use the OpenAI advanced voice assistant, right? And when you try to ask any kind of questions, right? So you have immediate answer, like
Hmm.
milliseconds. So
Right.
this is about the distribution and where the connectivity and network backbone so crucial to provide the inferencing with the end-to-end latency and define that so what the route will be suitable from the end user to the nearest internal endpoint where the model up and running. So this is not only about the east-west interconnection inside the data center, but it's also about the distribution and how you can potentially create the nearest connection from the end user to the end model, and the overall ISP and the reliable data center connection. It's so crucial, and most of the customers asking that. So okay, so do you have the internet connection 200 gig to internet or more? So this is the kind of the way where we see that. So the CDN providers, if we can call that, be a crucial part of the inference distributed interconnectivity. And today we have a connection with, I don't know, chatting with the LLMs, as an example, with ChatGPT or Gemini or any kind of the inference models. Today we can see that, so we can generate any kind of the images and potentially on fly, and tomorrow it will be video, and we will see that, so how you can distribute those videos and also generate on fly or potentially near real time. So this is about
Hmm.
the network connectivity, so what we see
Yeah.
what happening in the AI.
Yeah, that's. I think those are all really great points. I think from my perspective at telegeography, thinking about the network itself, the infrastructure itself, really, AI is most interesting to me in coming down to how the network has to facilitate all these tools, like you say, with immediate sort of reactions, latency. Even for some people in the industry, it's sometimes a hurdle to get over that. Of course the internet is not an abstraction, right? It is a physical thing, and it, the latency really makes a big difference on these AI models, in addition to lots of other things we do on the internet, of course. So I'm thinking about all of that. I want to go back a little bit to you touch on this, but the CDN background, and tell us, what Gcore's history is there a little bit, and then especially, how do you think the CDN kind of model of the world that's been with us for 15 plus years, right, is being adapted for this enterprise AI adoption world that we're in now?
Yeah, perfect question. And I think that's it's very crucial, especially for the CDN business. And maybe we can start from history side that. So one of the interesting point that so when the more businesses came to the digital world or e-commerce itself, and the gaming and entertainment is the one of the
Hmm.
crucial businesses for the CDN, how you can distribute the content. I think that so it still exists today, and we have very large customers who would like to distribute their videos or patches or any kind of the updates and a global scale. Yeah, so it's a crucial part for the CDN business. And from the other hand, that's we collaborating with the telcos in the same, I think, problem, how you can monetize and utilize your network backbone in more efficient way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pricing for the traffic drops significantly, and right now, so if we will
Always,
take
always. That's
yeah,
I
always,
should tell
yeah.
you, Save. I've been covering network prices since 2006, right? And it's like if there was one very brief moment at the end of COVID where prices kind of flattened for a little while, but other than that, the thing that you could count on more than anything was that backbone prices were going down 15-20% annually, depending on where you were, that sort of thing. So
And you
sorry
can
to
see that.
interrupt. I just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's so true, and this is the big pressure for any kind of the telco providers, and especially for the CDN business. And you can see that. So
Mhm.
some kind of the players also sign off from the market perspective and the business
Yeah.
perspective. And we believe that AI will be potential the new transformation for the CDN business itself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, as we started that, so yeah, the inference and how you can interconnect your end user with the AI and how you can make the real time interaction. So it's the very, very next step for the market. And NVIDIA itself declared that. So they looking um, that so we're not thinking in data center about the specific GPU server or the specific network switch or interconnection. So we're looking that so data center, it's the capacity location, like one single
Hmm.
big location, and we will distribute our workloads in the multiple locations. So it's like a CDN approach where we need to establish the connection for the different reasons, for the latency reason, for data privacy reason, and other stuff. So for the CDN, it's like a new wave where you can properly utilize your network backbone. Because yeah, so let's imagine that. So like when we're watching the short videos right now, so it's mostly generated by people. But
Hmm.
tomorrow we see that so more and more content
Hmm.
generated by AI. And
Right.
the number of the content which will be generated, it will be maybe 10 times more that generate every day by the overall people around the globe. And that means so the size of the quality of the videos or the images will be also growing significantly. So this is the portion where the businesses like CDN can optimize and providing the smart routing capabilities and distribute the interconnectivity between the end user and the model itself, and also utilize their network backbone and also have additional margin, because this is the maybe
Hmm.
positioning on the pricing perspective can be different. That you can
Right.
deliver the regular content or protect your network or whatever. So we believe that so this is the crucial part to provide the end value solution for the companies who would like to provide the solution, right? So
Hmm.
in this market, we see that so more or less um, inference companies providing their endpoints from the single data center. OpenAI already built their distributed infrastructure, and we believe that so it's the right way. And potentially, maybe OpenAI will be also like a CDN provider, but for their internal AI reasons.
Hmm.
Uh, we transform our network backbone to be more optimized and ready for AI workloads. And it's not only to provide our network infrastructure, but the whole layer, including the compute, security, and networking, and providing the and serverless solution where you can up and running your model in the multiple location, and you can have a single endpoint which can be distributed and it's fully hide from you, but you will have maximum performance in the low latency. So this is my view
Hmm.
on the CDN business and CDN side, and how you can be um, how you can edit value and utilize your network backbone, and additionally finding the way to have additional business and more marginal business as an example.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I'll tell you, as someone who's been in the industry a long time, this is both a new and an old story, right? So there's always been this story with us that like infrastructure is expensive to develop, prices are constantly falling. Even if there's this massive increase in bandwidth demand, which there always is something driving that, right? And AI is, like you said, going to be probably the biggest driver of that we've ever seen. But even if that's the case, we have to think creatively about how to make sure that we're monetizing all of this capital that goes into developing the infrastructure to handle this exaflood of data that's coming. So I think that's a great sort of thing to put a pin in there. And then also, like you said, there's even more forces with this. Of you mentioned like OpenAI doing some of their own CDN work. We saw that with the hyperscalers years ago, right, where they sort of became their own backbone providers and CDNs to some extent, right? So thinking through how the industry sort of absorbs all these rapid changes over the next few years, I think is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. And also related to the hyperscalers, one of the examples why GPU clouds came to the market, and one of the examples was the, again, CoreWeave and Lambda Labs. When OpenAI came, we also saw that so AI boom and new AI startups came to the market. They had a huge funds
Mm-hmm.
from investor firms or any kind of the other companies, but they committed to
Venture
build
capital.
and have
Yeah.
a prototype. Yeah, prototypes as soon as possible, maybe in 3 or 6 months. And at
Mm-hmm.
that time, so we also saw the shortage and the hyperscalers. When you try to go to the hyperscaler, so potentially you need to wait for 1 year because the most of the capacity allocated for the larger customers and any kind of the money which you will propose potentially. Okay, so you can wait for the 1 year. And the Lambda or Lambda Labs and CoreWeave, so potentially also as the partners as well of the hyperscalers. So they build the platforms and all necessary stuff much faster. So it's about the uh, how you can be
Mm-hmm.
flexible and finding the way in much smaller size company which can able to build much faster solutions which need to the market. And this is the one of the great examples. From the other hand, so we can see that the overall size of clusters and the requirements shifting from the I don't know 50 or hundreds of the servers to the thousands of the servers.
Right.
Yeah, so today we're discussing about the 10,000s of the GPUs, 100,000 GPUs, and potentially a million of the GPUs, where you can see that. So the deal with the OpenAI and NVIDIA signing for 10 gigawatts data centers. So you can imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
So how many GPUs it will be. So this is the game of the big guys, and also so this is the very capex intensive story from another hand, and we decided also as the company, so we providing our infrastructure services, but also we understand that so the new players and also telecom providers, GPU providers or the enterprise customers which buying the GPU infrastructure for their needs, so they have a missing part, uh, orchestration level, platform layer, and end user services, which helps to start to train and inference the models. And this is the crucial part where we decided that so okay, we can provide our software stack for those companies because time to market is so crucial, and you understand that if you will spend 1 year for development, so your GPUs will be so old, yeah, and your
Mm-hmm.
ROI will be never ever be on the positive side. So that's why we decided also to provide our software stack. We have a good relationship again with the NVIDIA, with the VAST and OEMs. So we see that so a lot of attention and the interest, and also we have a bunch of the customers which we can help and helping at this moment. And also one of the public references with the telco is the Orange, where we also provide our inference stack for them for
Mm-hmm.
their internal and external needs. And this is kind of the way how we decide to move on, especially on the GPU market. But yeah, so this is the interesting story that so how will be telecom transformed into the AI space, because I believe that so the AI workload will be commodity very soon. So the question like so
Mm-hmm.
when the end application will find a way how they can be cash positive. But anyway, so we will see that. it will be a common workload, like what we're doing with the CPU based applications, right? And
Mm-hmm.
business applications. So it will be a commodity, and for sure that's so. The question for the telcos and again for CDN providers or any kind of the companies which working with the networking, how to adopt the infrastructure for AI workloads.
Right, right, absolutely, and to serve their enterprise customers. But you're saying that enterprise customers can come directly to you and get some of this efficiency themselves as well, right? Do you have maybe like a sort of, I don't know, like a use case, a high level use case of that? Like, say I'm an enterprise, I'm looking at setting up some proprietary model. I need to train it, create data lakes. How are they approaching you? You know, differently maybe in some senses than the telcos.
Yeah. Um, Enterprises, so they have a lot of attention around the AI. They're trying to build the AI strategy, but the first major step to have the AI excellence center inside the organization to understand that. So what exact problem and the business value you would like to integrate or adopt with the AI? So this is the first questions which
Yeah, why should we
enterprises
bother
should be.
doing this? Not
Yes,
just
yes,
cause,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And when they have a full vision that so how it can help for again different reasons for external users to get additional revenue or providing the customer experience or for internal tools for transcribing or building the private AI chatbot for adopting their knowledge base and different use cases or industry cases. um, they starting to piloting with the SaaS solutions like OpenAI or Anthropic or any kind of the public endpoints, which they can verifying, testing, and proving the solution first. On the second stage, when they have a proven POC on their side, they understand that so they cannot put their all data, which they have in their organization for security reasons, to
Mm-hmm.
third-party provider at this moment. We also see that. So what's happening with the public and private clouds, but the same we see that. So this is more crucial about the data which you potentially transferring to this SaaS or public endpoints stuff. Um, and most of the enterprises starting to build their own private solutions to keep their data, to keep their knowledge, and they need to have their own not only models. So it also depends on the enterprises, which they have their own ML engineers and data scientists, and they trying to build their own models. But most of the cases, and I think that's it's roughly 90%. So they would like to utilize the existing models and build a solution. And
Mm-hmm.
also model itself, it's not so useful and the end goal to have a appropriate solution which will resolve the business use case. So you need to understand the problem and providing the solution, as I mentioned that. So transcribing system to also have the internal tool which can transcribing any kind of the meetings or private AI chatbots to have the integration with the whole knowledge base system and finding the any kind of the things so fast in human based words or sentence, or providing the recommendation if it's specific business application which can be assist for any kind of the questions or I don't know functionality or whatever. So all of those things we're trying to help and adopt on the way where the end customer or enterprise needs to resolve and build their solution, but not only provide the model or the specific puzzles of the services, but the end solution. And it should be a production scale and enterprise scale solution, which we
Mm-hmm.
manage in building for ourselves to providing the public services to the end customers on different types, including the enterprises and SMB customers. And this way, so our mission to understand the end goal of the end customer and adopting the end request and the requirements from the end customers to the solution for them, building based on our services and products inside, especially on the AI space. And for sure that's
Mm-hmm.
so for the last 4 years. So expertise and knowledge that so what the gap we're trying to solve between the ML engineers business and infrastructure side or infrastructure departments. So we're building the bridge. also to
Mm-hmm.
have proper communication inside and get the solution fast.
This is, I mean, you make so many great points, but I think that that one in particular, that it's, first, there's a huge range of available skills within the enterprise world, right? Obviously, some companies that are much more tuned to software development and things like that. But even still, even in those cases, there's still silos where the network team doesn't understand what the IT team who's building these tools is doing, and then, of course, security might be yet another silo that's difficult there. But that in the end, I suspect, certainly as you're suggesting, I think that more off the shelf sort of turnkey solutions are what most enterprises are going to turn to, even if there's proprietary data. There's some sort of flavor that for my business case, for my sort of use case that I've sold internally, but that no one wants to design all of this from the ground up themselves, right?
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. Especially so we know that. So if a company starting to be enterprise, so a lot of workflows and the internal communication can be and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
so challenged to build some products. Yeah, and on that way, we understand that. So first of all, you need to explain and also prove your solution, which can help on the specific case for different departments. So network
Mm-hmm.
department has their own way how they would like to challenge you. So AI engineers, so this is the another space. Infrastructure guys, so it's the third part. Financial guys and CTO, it's
Mm-hmm.
the and other things and all of that. So you're trying to combine, but again, so as the provider, you need to understand the ultimate end goal for the end customer, and for sure that. So we also understand that how we build our solutions, and also we have the similar stuff inside the
Mm-hmm.
organization, like financial guys,
Exactly.
CTO, and all of those stuff, engineering team. So we understand that. So it kind of the painful, but also when the end customer will see the value for them, and when you're trying to speak on the same language. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's ultimate goal, and for sure that. So it's also the crucial part to have a support from the partners on different stages, again, including the NVIDIA or Vast or OEMs or the existing integrators or the software piece which can be integrated with our solution. So it's also can helpful to have appropriate communication with the enterprises. With the AI startups, this is the another way. So they would like to have as much automation and flexibility as an example, especially for the inferencing, where we can scale up and scale down, and the technology like managed Kubernetes, scaling by the specific GPU parameters, and etc. But those
Mm-hmm.
flexibility and the automation which you can provide to the AI startups to also serve their customers immediately and have appropriate flexible solution how we can charge and all of those things helps to work with the really large scale AI startups. And recently, so we announced our partnership with the Higgsfield. This is the AI startup which providing the solution for image and video generation. So they utilize our infrastructure to have again fully automated way for scale up and scale down and utilization of the GPU stuff. Another case where we works with the entertainment customers. So it's ProSieben. This is the
Mm-hmm.
entertainment company from Germany, and they produce the top next model series. And on that season, so they providing the application where you can, based on your photo, generate the new images based on the top next model thematic or
Mm-hmm.
kind of the backgrounds. So it's based on the image generation model with the specific workflows where our engineers close works with the ProSieben engineers on the optimization of the model and how you can more faster processing the image generation and also utilization of the GPU. So this is that's different levels of the collaboration with the end customers, but
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate goal to understand so what kind of the problem you have and how you would like to solve. And in our organization, we have different layers of the support, how and what exactly customer would like to have and what the control they would like to have and their expertise. and
Right.
depends on the level. So we're ready to help.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Exactly, is being able to deal with a variety of customers in terms of how much control they want or don't want, and how much input they are able to provide or not. Right, I think is really crucial because, like I said, I from the network side, I see the whole range where you'll encounter network teams for a global MNC that have half a dozen people, right? Or a network team from a global MNC that has 250 network architects, right? And those are teams that are consuming things very differently, right? So I think being flexible in that sense is really important. So, Seva, you mentioned inference, and you talked earlier about sort of how crucial latency was at that stage when we're thinking about things like you're mentioning these startups working on video production and whatnot. We often think about the processing power in video, right? Or you think about the bandwidth needed for that kind of thing. Let's think more about the physical location and what impacts the latency. So I want to start with maybe how you at Gcore would define edge. I know you have this inference and edge compute product, suite, solution, whatever you want to call it. Coming from the world of at telegeography, we cover data centers all around the world, as well as networks, right? And I've seen this definition of what is an edge data center, for example. Really dependent on who you're talking to and for what purpose. They might mean we're not in Frankfurt or Ashburn, but just a tier 2 or tier 3 city, all the way down to there's a closet in a multi-tenant office building that is a little mini data center, right? How are you thinking of what edge means at Gcore?
Great question. If you asked me 5 years ago, so I will answer to you that. So we have more than 200 point of presence. So we present potentially on each country, and we have multiple cities to have appropriate, I don't know, 30 or 20 millisecond average latency between the locations and distribution. But we have a lot of challenges right now related to the power
Yeah.
capacity and
Hmm.
the overall GPU consumption. So I think that on the ideal situation, for sure that so you have near edge and far edge, and depends on the end application. It will be crucial to also understand that. So what the latency you would like to achieve. But we believe that so 20 millisecond average latency across the globe. So it's a pretty good numbers
Yeah,
for the
that's
regular
remarkable.
up.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. With the GPU stuff and what exactly from the strategic point of view, when we have on-device processing, right? So like you can see that. So Apple, Samsung, and the rest trying to have a portion of the accelerator where we have a GPU portion or any kind of the IPU, whatever, which define it as the AI stuff, which you can anyway so translate the any kind of stuff by device. But also we see that so different OEMs working to have a hybrid mode where the
Mm.
any kind of the complex requests to the AI can be transferred to the nearest point of presence for processing on the external server. So it's mean the edge.
Okay.
But from the infrastructure side, the challenge here that so you need to also, as we discussed, to finding the way to have as minimum latency, end-to-end latency to the nearest endpoint where the model is up and running.
Mhm.
Today, processing time for again image generation or video generation as an example, it's not so fast. So the big portion of the end-to-end latency goes to the processing instead of
Mhm.
the network part. But for LLMs right now, if you will chatting, so it's kilobytes. So the processing time can be much lower comparing with the network latency. But the end customers can feel that with the
Mhm.
images or any kind of large file. So you will feel that. So the processing time can be, I don't know, less than seconds, like, I don't know, 18 milliseconds, whatever, depends on the
Right.
optimization. if you were trying to download this image or video from US, but you're located in Japan or in Europe, so for sure that you will feel the latency, how slower than load if you will have nearby endpoints. Um, from another hand, data centers and the overall power capacity which you can achieve inside a data center, and especially per rack, it's pretty challenging, because we also see that the inference guys, or who would like to have the inference of their models or open source models, like again, OpenAI open source model, or I know DeepSeek as an example.
Mhm.
So they require to have H100s or H200s or B200s. So it's not enough to have a low end or mid range GPU card, because optimization it's still not here. And if you would like to have accuracy higher or relevant, which you have with the OpenAI or any kind of the nearby models, or image generation. So you need to have a powerful GPUs, and you can imagine that. So the one server which contained the 8 GPUs consume roughly 16 kilowatt per server right now.
Mhm.
Discuss about the air cooled. Um, tomorrow, every server will be liquid cooled. How many data centers, edge data centers, prepared for that? And
Right.
this is the
Right.
big challenge. Yeah, so I think that so the edge environments and the edge at AI will be equivalent for the far edge, I believe, for the
Mhm.
specific of the time frame. But for sure, that so if the AI world will define and optimize or building the hybrid modes, so we will see that more and more near edge and the far edge, and how it will be distributed or transferred the specific task to the centralized cloud data centers or large data centers, and the specific task can be processing on the near edge environments. So the question right now and the challenges right now is the electricity, not
Mhm.
about the connectivity. So this is the big
Right.
challenge for the app right now for the AI.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So again, for a long time, there's been this sort of race between processing speeds and transmission speeds. You're saying right now, it's sort of the slowness is going more to the processing for some applications, but also just the physical infrastructure needed for these things, like the power and whatnot. So I think that very often I've seen it kind of in the other way around, where data center location follows the cheap power, it follows the cheap real estate, and then fiber connectivity is the problem, right? So I'm sure that balance will keep circling around each other, but that and I could also see a world like you mentioned, video processing at this time pretty tolerant of latency, because you're just hoping for an end product. But there is a time coming, scary as it may seem, where video generation is going to be live, right? You know what I mean? You might be doing a podcast with some sort of avatar generated of me, right? So that
I'm,
certainly is going to lean towards the transmission end of things as well as the processing, right? So
I'm
yeah,
happy that so I can speak with the real person. So I hope that so I will have
I,
a
I
good
got
time frame to have a
yeah.
conversation with the humans. Yeah,
I'm in the camp that I'd still like to hear humans talking about this, and hope we have a role for that in the future,
yeah,
right? So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but no, I think that's really fascinating. So Seva, to wrap things up, I always like my guests to just kind of give their view of the next few years. I know in this case it's really hard because you're trying to put together where the AI startups are going and what they're going to be doing, along with how it's going to be utilized at the enterprise and how it best gets to the enterprise, and how the data centers are going to be developed to facilitate all of this, and the processing GPUs are going to facilitate all this. There's a lot for you to synthesize. So I appreciate how difficult this question might be, but just what do you see for AI utilization, maybe at the enterprise level, over the next 5 years, and how that relates to the networking team, to the IT team, all that.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that's the crucial part, that AI workloads will be commodity workloads or will be integrated everywhere. And I think that
Hmm.
we already um, it's native for us to using the prompts and like a chat
Yep.
uh, button to have any kind of the questions which we would like to ask. The second thing that's um, AI market, it's so hyped at this moment, so we don't know exactly what will happen, and you can see that.
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
billions invested, data centers, gigawatts trying to build, the new companies coming, large deals come in between the big players. So nobody knows what will happen with the all of those market things, but I believe that so AI as a workloads, it will be already exist in our life. So everybody
Hmm.
understands how it works. And we on the early stage, I think that's we only in early stage to understand that so what kind of the capabilities we can achieve
Right.
with the AI, and more use cases will come in. Related to the enterprises, yeah. So we also in the way where we will have more understanding on the enterprise, so how AI can help on their specific use cases. And for networking and for telcos, again, so what we see that so more and more trying to adopt the AI workloads for internal perspective and the internal side related to the network configuration, support assistance, and also for the external customers as well. Um, and that way, I believe that we will see the huge ramp up of the new technology and new innovations. Again, so we're discussing right now 800 gigabit per port, and we don't know that. So what Jensen
Hmm.
will create tomorrow, and you can
Hmm.
see that
Hmm.
so every year. So the new hardware, the new innovations, the new requirements, the new challenges which we're trying to solve, and I think that we never ever saw so fast new requirements into the bandwidth, speed, and the overall exaflops, which we're discussing right now in the data
Hmm.
centers. I think that's we'll see more and more new challenges into the edge and distribution, which we will try to solve with the AI, the smart routing and the GPU itself. So it's very power consumed, but also so we need to figure out that so how it will be distributed between the data centers, and also to check that so the GPU is alive, hardware is alive, so we can route to the specific endpoint. So it's also related to the after healing and all those stuff. So this is the new challenges on the market at this moment. Yeah, but I hope that so it not be like a boom, so it will be stable. The AI startups will find their proper unit economy and cash positive way. It will be everywhere, and we not be fear that so this technology can, I don't know, be scary for humanity. But I see that so it's more and more benefits
Hmm.
um, related to the data regulation for sure. That so it's another big topic, and how
Hmm.
to regulate and how you need to store the data, what the kind of the access or the granularity of the answer should be, or potentially how it should be built. But from the businesses, enterprises, and especially for telcos, it's as I said before, new opportunity and the new adoption which they need to accept and be ready
Hmm.
for the AI race.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that, yeah, that certainly there's a lot yet to be done, possibly in the regulatory environment that I think could very much steer how things develop in various ways across the AI itself, as well as the infrastructure development and sort of climate considerations and all those kinds of things that I think are going to be that make it all the more difficult as analysts and people thinking about this to see exactly what it's going to look like over
Yeah, yeah,
as this unfolds. But what we could be certain of is that it's here, it's coming. Hopefully, this whole industry has learned some lessons from the sort of internet boom and bust cycle of the turn of the millennium, right? And not exactly go down that path again. But it's very easy, as you say, to see increasing, transport and port sizes and all of that. So I'm just getting, rapid expansion. So it's definitely going to be fascinating to watch from my end of There's a sense in which the world will soon look like the purpose of humanity is to build wires to giant computers, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely. Well, Seva, this has been really interesting. And great to hear your perspective on this. How can listeners keep up with you and Gcore, what you're doing there?
Welcome to our webpage, gcore.com. I think that's so we can publish my email if you will have any questions,
Yeah,
suggestions, whatever. So please feel free to reach me. So we'll be happy to communicate with everybody. Yeah, and first of all, thank you so much and pleasure to be here as
yeah.
a guest. And thank you so much for your questions. So it's super super direct and valuable onto the perspective what is going on with the AI. And yeah, I hope that so I will have a chance to visit you again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be a lot to catch up on. So yeah, great to have you on, and certainly, yeah, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, keep in touch. Thank you so much.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. Thanks for listening. Telegeography Explains the Internet comes from the experts here at Telegeography. It's edited and produced by Jane Miller, and it's hosted by me, Greg Bryan. And I also wrote that theme song you're listening to right now. To learn more about our data, jump over to telegeography.com, and we'll see you on the internet.